regardless of the source of what was creating these incidents at Rendlesham, at the nuclear weapons storage facility, whether it's U.S. black projects, enemy technology, or alien, these incidents that involve the exploitations of our nuclear weapons demand full investigation and transparency. I know there's an argument about there's an argument against transparency, which I've heard espoused by, former military guys on podcasts, where they say it makes the U.S. military look weak to admit to our adversaries that we don't have full autonomy over our airspace, over our nuclear weapons. And I totally, I sympathize with that opinion. Obviously, I'm just a fucking idiot. I'm not a war general. I'm not a nuclear expert. I'm not a military commander. So take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. But I sympathize with that perspective that you don't want to get. The fact that we don't have information about something is information to our adversaries, because then they know, okay, they do not have these capabilities. Maybe Russia, maybe China has figured some of this shit out. And so they know that we won't be able to defend against these things because we're admitting we don't have autonomy over our airspace, especially, over our nuclear weapons, because there are a lot of nuclear incidents involving UFOs, UAPs that have been reported. I will say, though, the devil's advocate opinion for pro-transparency, the reason why we should be sharing this information, not just with the public, but with our allies, adversaries, just putting it out there into the world, is because we have, in the U.S. alone, thousands of nuclear weapons, many of those on hair trigger alert, which is ready for immediate launch. Like these things, like you press a fucking button and boom, it goes off. Pointed at different countries around the world. We have nuclear weapons on hair trigger alert, pointed in all different directions towards our enemies, adversaries right now in the U.S. What if UAP, UFO activity incites us to launch a nuke at another country, Russia, China, by mistake? What if something in the sky, we don't know what the fuck it is, we mistake it for something that it's not, and boom, we identify it as an adversarial attack, and we launch a nuke by mistake, start a nuclear war, start World War III. We have had a situation like this happen before. We've actually had 6 or 7 incidents, these near nuclear accidents, near nuclear launches happen in history. It's not out of the question that, not even close to being out of the question, that something that we don't understand in our sky could lead to an accidental nuclear launch because we mistake it for something that it's not. And so if the U.S. took the lead and said, hey, let's open source the UAP UFO investigation, let's figure out what the fuck this is so we can work with other countries, allies, adversaries, whoever, so we don't hit the off button for our planet, which would be nuclear war. Let's fucking open book this shit, because you can't go back from launching a nuke. That is something you cannot return from. The world, humanity will never be the same. And if you think that's an exaggeration, that a UFO or UAP, that we could mistake it for something that it's not, maybe we pick it up on our radar as a, there's something in the sky and we pick it up accidentally as a nuke that launched from Russia, so we fucking launch nukes at Russia when Russia actually didn't launch anything at us. It was just a UAP, UFO. If we had said, we're seeing these things in our skies, the U.S., we're communicating with other countries, maybe this sharing of information doesn't happen. We need to start sharing more with other countries to prevent these near nuclear accidents. If you think this is an exaggeration, that a nuclear accident, an accidental nuclear launch could occur because of a UFO, UAP, if you don't think that could actually happen, let me remind you of the Stanislav Petrov incident. And this is just one. I've had nuclear engineers on the podcast to describe near nuclear accidents. It's actually happened 6 or 7 times throughout history. This is just one incident where shit almost hit the fucking fan. So this is the Stanislav Petrov incident. It occurred on September 26, 1983, so right around the time of Rendlesham, when Soviet officer Stanislav Petrov prevented a potential nuclear war by correctly identifying a false alarm in the Soviet Union's early warning system. The system reported that the United States had launched 5 nuclear missiles, but Petrov, trusting his instincts and suspecting a malfunction, chose not to escalate the alert, preventing a retaliatory Soviet nuclear strike. His decision is widely credited with averting World War III. The malfunction in the Soviet early warning system on September 26, 1983, was caused by a rare alignment of sunlight reflecting off of high-altitude clouds near Montana, where U.S. missile silos were located. The Soviet satellite-based detection system, OKO, mistakenly interpreted this reflected sunlight as the infrared signature of incoming intercontinental ballistic missiles, or ICBMs. If World War III almost started because of a sunlight refraction, UFOs can certainly trigger more confusion than that. It is not even close to being out of the question that if the US does not take the lead and start sharing and start open sourcing the things that we don't understand, create this international arena of confusion and mystery. And when you have mystery, that can be misperceived as a threat, and that threat turns into accidental nuclear war. The world almost came to a fucking fireball because of sunlight refracting off of clouds. So this shit is serious. And if we have stuff that we don't understand that's happening in our country, that's happening in countries around the world, that's happening all over, sometimes I think about it. I think the world could end because of a UAP UFO incident, a craft that is mistaken for nuclear launch, and it's moving, gets picked up on radar a certain way. Maybe it triggers the early warning activation system. These things are not flawless. Again, these mistakes have happened multiple times throughout history where environmental conditions or radar glitches almost ended the world. So in my humble idiot opinion, we need to start being more open source about what we do know about UAPs and what we don't know, so that we can collaborate with other countries to create a more trusting, solid, non-mysterious environment about the existing UFO knowledge to prevent sort of nuclear accident in the future.